Okay, the first video in English. This might get interesting, for me at least. If you're new here to the channel, welcome. We are Simon and Simon, and together with our small dog Phoebe, we are tackling quite a project here. We have bought a very old 200-year-old house, an old farm from 1820. And when we bought it in November of 2023, like 10 or 11 months ago, it was completely full of stuff. The person who lived here and had lived here her whole life with her family has gathered quite a lot of stuff. So every room in the house and also the barns were completely full of stuff, like seriously full of stuff. But this was exactly the kind of project that we were looking for. So we bought this place, and for the first 4 cold winter months we did nothing else than emptying out the whole place. There's still a lot left. We decided to keep a lot of very nice stuff that we want to look through later and see if we want to keep, if we want to sell it or give away for someone who can use it, but stuff that are too good to throw away. But there was a lot of stuff that we needed to throw away. We sorted everything in the courtyard and we filled about 11 containers full of waste and about 4 containers full of wood and furniture. And after that cleanup process, we have started renovating the place. There's really a lot to do, and we started renovating the living room, and we are almost complete with that. In my last video, we painted the walls for the first time, and today I just need to paint the walls for the second time. And after that, we are actually done with the living room and can start furnishing it. In about a month, we will have owned this place for a year. And when that time comes, I'll do a larger recap video of all the projects that we have tackled for the first year on this farm. So if you're interested in follow along, now will be an excellent time to subscribe, because in just about a month's time, you'll be all caught up and I'll show you everything that you might have missed so far. And as mentioned, this is a very old farm, but we fell for it because it has a lot of charm and a lot of potential, and there's a lot of projects, which we also like. Neither of us really have any renovating skills, but that's kind of the fun of this project. We just like to try and learn new stuff as we go along, and YouTube is full of tutorials, so yeah. Sometimes we do it completely wrong and sometimes we wind up doing it right somehow. That's part of this project. We won't be doing anything perfectly, but we're having a good time while we do it. But for now, I need to finish up that living room. Those walls aren't painting themselves. Here in the living room, I now have the paint ready. We actually have a little bit paint left from the first bucket last week when we painted these walls the first time. We only bought 2 buckets because the guy in the shop said that we only needed 2 for these walls. I was a bit skeptical, but maybe that's the difference between good quality paint and not so good. But this 1 bucket has actually lasted for all these walls, and we still have about 20% left in the bucket. I think the walls look very nice after the first coat of paint, so there's a very nice coverage, I think. So I really hope and think that 2 coats of paint will be enough for this. But we do have some challenges with the walls in here, because down here there's actually a bit of moisture in the walls. So the filler that has been put on the walls has actually come off a bit here. And in here on the other side in the room that we haven't started yet, the walls are of course very rustic and needs to be completely done in here. Right now it's dry here, but earlier, a couple of months ago, it was really damp and moist here. I think somehow, this is a very old house, and our building carpenters told us that, under this house there's just beams that are resting on rocks in the ground, so moisture are actually able to get up. And maybe that also explains why the floor at this point is a bit darker and probably a bit moist, and has probably been that way for many, many years. So yeah, I'm not really sure what we should do about this corner problem of the wall, but my guess is it has been this way for many, many years, maybe really forever. And there's no mildew or anything, so maybe it's not an unhealthy thing, maybe it's just an imperfect wall. I think we'll have to talk to some experts about that. So let me get painting, and hopefully this room will be done very soon. We are done painting the living room. Whew, this has been a long journey. Simon is giving the beams in here a little linseed oil as the very last touch to this room. Of course, there are still things that we are missing, like all these panels along the floor, and of course we also need to get the panels around this door and get all the doors painted as well. This door down here and all the panels around it needs to get painted. But we've decided that just as soon as Simon has finished giving the beams in here linseed oil, we will actually remove all of the floor covering and start decorating the room. Because now we really need to get this room done and feel like we have just one room that is actually nice on this farm. So this is really an awesome day for us. While Simon is finishing up giving the beams in the living room some linseed oil, I think I will tackle a small project out here in front of the building, out in our driveway in front of the garage. When we took over this place this winter, this driveway was not looking like this. It was very muddy. This is the old tractor garage to the farm here. This yellow building is from 1941, and upstairs there's a huge attic that was the grain attic, where all the seeds and grains from the fields were stored for winter, I think. And in here we found a tractor. And that has been sold, but we are now using this part of the building for our garage for the car. And as mentioned, this driveway wasn't looking like that this winter. It was extremely muddy, and there was also a high edge, which meant that we couldn't really drive into the garage with the car very easily, especially not when it was wet and rainy. So we had someone put in this grass reinforcement you see right here. And when he started that job, I think I still had some tiles laying here in front of the garage that I have been using to be able to drive into the garage. And I think that he thought that I would like to use those tiles for something. So he has actually placed them over here in a small square. And in the beginning I was very satisfied with that, because I thought, well, maybe I can use that for something practical. Didn't know what, but yeah. But now, almost a year later, I haven't actually found any use for that. Come to think of it, I actually think it would be better looking and more simple just to have grass here. So while I have an hour or two, I think I will remove these tiles, and then I will lay down some dirt, because over here in front of the farm I still have this big pile of dirt that contains a lot of gravel that we removed from our courtyard project. I think I remember that in one corner of this big pile there's actually some clean dirt that doesn't contain any gravel. Why not use that right here and then put some grass seeds, so that while we still have some decent temperatures and the grass might still grow a little, I can get this looking a bit more simple. I really hope these grass seats aren't too old. I have had them sitting in the garage for, 2/3 of a year probably. I think they look like they're too old maybe. I'm not really sure what they're supposed to look like, but I think I've seen grass seeds that look fresher than this. But yeah, now I've put down soil and grass seeds, and I'll check in with this again in about a month's time. We're in October now, and the temperature today is around 14 degrees Celsius. So it'll be interesting to see if this will sprout this fall, or if I'll have to get back to this in the spring. Simon is now done giving the beams in here linseed oil, and that means that this living room is completely done, for now at least. We of course still need a lot of finishing, but we can remove the covering and start putting furniture in. We really haven't got much furniture yet. We need to buy a sofa and all those kind of things. But we do have some furniture that came along with this farm that we found in the attic, and Simon has also bought a couple of things for the house here. So now I think we will remove all these coverings and start putting in a little furniture and see what it looks like.
Gonna stay in this moment, gonna lay here on the grass. I don't need to feel lonely, I am finally home at last. And I don't mind being gone on adventures for a while. No, no. 'Cause the best thing about it is I know I'm coming back. Oh, oh. Of all the magic places in the world I've been to, this is where my heart is. Oh, you know it's true. No matter where I go, I'm coming home to you. Been walking down the street so many times, my feet know every brick and stone. Could wear a blindfold, no matter what I do, I'm coming home to you. And I don't know why, don't know why, don't know why, I'm always feeling homesick. Oh, all I know, all I know, all I know.
I love this room and the light coming through the windows. It really is a nice room, and I can't wait to decorate it. We don't have a lot of furniture as mentioned before, but let's go and get some of the stuff that we do have and see how it fits in here. That's going to be a cozy little nook here in the living room. Of course we need shelves, and I have an idea about a record player and a low shelf and something like that. But Simon and I were thinking about just taking a little trip up to the grain loft now to see, because that's where we've stored a lot of the furniture that we have found on this place when we actually emptied out everything. So let's go up and see if we can find anything up here. And Simon found something already.
That will look nice in there.
Yeah, let's bring that.
And
See, over here we actually did find a really cool record player. It's a bit dusty right now, but it's an old Pioneer record player, and I think that could be really cool over in the living room. We need to buy a sofa. The sofas and a lot of the textile furniture that we found, like sofas, they were completely eaten by rats and mice. So all the fabric, we couldn't use any of the sofas actually.
no.
That's a really nice.
Yes, I think it's a typical Danish 60s table, but very nice, very simple.
Yeah.
And then maybe we should get another lamp.
We need some more light over there. I actually like this one, but I'm not sure if we have any tables to put it on, or if you like it.
We can put it in the window ceiling.
Yeah, Should we bring it?
Yeah.
Do we have a shade for it?
Maybe we can take one from...
I'm not sure what kind of shade goes with this one. Let's bring it and find a shade for it.
We should try and make a dining table. Or see if we can use those
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
boards that we have.
We have some long wooden beams that we found here when we got the place, and we've talked about sanding those down, maybe using them as they are or maybe painting them, but using one of those or maybe putting two together or 1.5 for a huge dining table.
Yeah, we'll see if it works.
Yeah.
Maybe we should get like 1 or 2 pictures to bring inside just to make it look a little like this one.
What is that?
Embroidered Jesus.
Oh, Jesus.
Then there's this one here. This one I really like. It's Peter Troyer, a Danish artist.
Okay.
And this is for washing clothes in old days.
Yeah. Washboards are what they're called.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's quite sweet. She can come inside. You can see
She's pondering something, I think.
Yeah, probably money and bills and stuff like that.
What to post
Like
on
the rest of
Instagram, I
us.
think.
Yeah, right. Right. This one, I like this one as well.
Yeah, that's a Danish Bible text.
That-
God is our savior and strength. Som hjælp i trængsler, funden såre stor. It's really worded in an old Danish, so it's hard to read for me even. But it's Solomon 16 something.
And I'm too young to understand it.
Yeah, but it's something about God will help you when times are hard.
Maybe we should look downstairs, because I was thinking, especially that part of the wall where it's like humid, and maybe we can put like a painting in front of it, just on the floor. Just
That's our quick fix for the for the wet wall. Let's put a painting there. This old grain loft up here is an amazing room, and we're still not sure what we are going to use it for in the future. Simon is talking about opening a web shop. Then he can stand here and pack all his packages to send out.
maybe.
They used to do gymnastics up here actually, because in this part of the small village that's close by here, there was no community house. So actually they invited people to come here and use this space to do gymnastics and also dancing, we've been told. Yeah.
We have some old photos.
So there's really, we have some old photos I'll put here. So there's quite some history up in this old grain loft.
Yeah, and a lot of the people who live around here, like who are now old people, they've been here when they were like young adults.
This one is from the old picture that you just saw, and that's one of the items they used to do the gymnastics. Okay, let's bring this table and all these other small items.
The frame broke for this one, but we're gonna have it reframed because I really like the drawing.
Yeah, that's a really, really cool drawing.
It's from 1915, and that's the farm.
Oh yeah, can you hold that up?
If I seem a little sedated, really I'm not. I'm just not feeling well today.
Yeah, Simon's actually sick today, but I tried to get him to stay in bed, but he loves painting walls and ceilings so much that he had to get up. This here is an aerial photo of this farm that we found, framed and everything. And this is before Google satellite or anything like this. So this is taken from an aeroplane back in the 50s, I think. Pretty cool. And here is so many paintings and frames and everything.
This one I really like.
Look at these old electricals right here by all the paintings. With an old sign of some sort.
It's funny because like this is something I would never even consider hanging in the flat.
No.
But like this place, it's just
Yeah, here on the farm.
different.
it's-
I guess we can be more like
has-
experiment a little more.
Yeah, and it has a cozy vibe, I think.
Yeah.
So, a very small start decorating the place. We need to get shopping, I think. We have been busy for the last many months trying to renovate this living room, and now that it's finally ready, we are totally unprepared for it. So we need to get shopping, get a couch, get some furniture, and start living here, and we can't wait. I just noticed that Simon and Phoebe are in the garden by the walnut tree. You're collecting walnuts?
Yes. Yes, they're everywhere.
We have this huge walnut tree here. And when we took over this place, we found a lot of crates of walnuts that I think the elderly woman that lived here had been collecting, because in some of the crates there was actually a small note that said nice walnuts from the eastern part of the garden, and I think that's here. So yeah, those are really good looking walnuts.
Yeah, and there's many.
I wonder how old this walnut tree is.
I think this is the one that was planted in 1900.
Yeah, we were told that we had 2 trees here in the garden, and we're guessing that it's this old blood oak or red oak and this walnut tree, and that makes them 124 years old. And if that's the case, that's truly amazing.
Yeah, and that they still produce nuts.
Yeah, but it does have, this walnut tree, a huge branch that is very close to the house here. So as you may be able to tell, I've put a small white X up on there, because we're having our tree guy cut off this branch here so that we don't risk it hurting the house at any point. Quite cozy to have your old walnut tree in the garden, I think. That's just one of the many nice things that we have inherited by having this place. Next time I'll start building a dining table for our living room, and I'll build them out of some old large wooden boards that I think were once used as partition walls out in the stables. I'll also take a look at our gates, because yeah, they've seen better days and are not in the best of conditions. Actually, we need to replace them, but we have a ton of projects before that. So in the meantime, until we get time to replacing them, I think I'll have a look at them and see what I can do to maybe get them to look a little nicer and also keep them going a little while longer. And if you would like to follow along in our process of renovating this place, both inside and out, while we tackle all the various small and larger tasks that come along with it, you are of course very welcome to subscribe. And then it won't be long before we are back with new jobs and a new video here from the farm. See you soon.